Welcome back, watch fans. Today we're talking about making bigly and huge money with Patek Philippe and other watches. Again, this is the #1 channel for money making with watches. We've had some massive, huge wins, and we got another one coming up for you. So get ready for this. So we're talking today about very important quality I look for. Very important quality I look for when it comes to making money with watches, and that is for something to have a big win, it's got to have original design. Okay, it has to be an original design, and as you kids like to say, iconic. Okay, I know a lot of you kids, you tomato cans, you millennial, Gen Z, whatever, you guys love that word iconic. And guess what? You got to have an original design. So here's what I mean. When it comes to Patek Philippe, there's two watches we discussed, I think in a previous video, which was the Patek Philippe Ellipse and the Patek Philippe 3940 Perpetual Calendar. And you know why those are becoming big winners, and why. Again, let's use a case study. Let's do a case study of people who are losing money with watches and people who are making money with watches. Okay, I'm not trying to embarrass anybody, but I just want to use them as an example. And why it was a bad decision. So for example, we got the guy who's one of these people on the Archie Luxury channel, and I always say this: look, you know, the quality of your life is determined by the quality of, you know, the people you hang around with. If you hang around with deadbeats and bukyaks, you're going to become a bukyak. And people, let's say you hang around with people who have bad taste, who don't know anything about watches, you're basically going to lose all your money. That's why the Archie world, whatever they call all those channels affiliated, they're basically a bunch of losers who buy money-losing watches that are just, you know, deadbeat watches. We're talking about, you know, basic Rolex. We're talking about basic Patek, all that stuff. So let me give you an example. Again, I'm not trying to embarrass the guy, but there's a guy we'll call the Prince of Porn Valley. Okay, we're not going to name his name, but this guy he makes films. He's a filmmaker. I think he's a cameraman making adult films in Chatsworth, California. And, you know, he wanted to be an aristocrat. But, you know, we've seen the watches he buys. We're not going to get into the bad mistake taste. But, you know, he was on a live stream with the Colonel. And, you know, he wanted to become an aristocrat. He wanted to get a Patek Perpetual Calendar. Why? Because the Patek Perpetual Calendar is the ultimate Patek Philippe, okay? It's a classic. It's like this Lambretta. Wow, that was unbelievable but true. And he wanted to get a Patek Perpetual, but you know, and I said, look, you know, the one to get is you got to go for the icon. You got to go best of breed, which is 3940. 3940. If it was good enough for Philippe Stern as a daily, it should be good enough for, you know, a bukyak like you. But he was like, oh no, it's too small. Oh, it's too old. Well, you know, this is what happened. These people, you know, it's LA people. You know, the Americans especially. You know, the Americans, LA people, California people, they don't know anything. They have no taste. You know, they want new, shiny, big, you know, fake tits. You know, hamburgers, you know, double cheese hamburgers, you know, stuff like that. That's the American way. So, you know, instead of buying a 3940, he bought a, I don't know what it's called. It's some Perpetual that came out a few years ago, and it's got the window dates, the date window, and it's got a second hand. It's got those syringe hands. It's got these kind of Arabic numerals. I forgot the number, but you know, that's what it is. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? You guys know what I'm talking about. Unbelievable but true. And hang on a second. There we go. All right. So why did I tell him that watch was a bad idea? I explained it to him, but he didn't understand. So I'll explain to you again. So, you know, when it comes to watches, right, I look at it through the lens of art, okay? Same thing, same rules apply, right? The market rewards originality. The market pays for originality, right? The market does not pay for homage or reissue, vintage, blah, blah, blah. So, for example, The Prince of Porn Valley's perpetual calendar with the syringe hands, the modern big watch. The problem with that watch is it's basically it's a Frankenstein of conglomerations of various vintage motifs. The syringe hands is something from like the 30s or 40s. The Arabic numerals. It's got all these elements from different eras that are, you know, not of the current moment. They're all just redos. They're all redos. It's not original. It's not original design. So, and it's not bad. It's the quality. I'm sure the quality of the watch is fine. Okay, but it's like I made this example before, like Thomas Kincaid art. You guys ever hear of Thomas Kincaid? He was like an art. I think at one point it was a guy that sold in malls. Thomas Kincaid. He made these paintings of cod. Your grandma probably has, right? Thomas Kincaid actually was selling stuff for big money, like, I don't know, 50 grand for a painting with any prints, all sorts of garbage. I mean, it's pure trash, schlock, trash, a la poubelle, right? Now, here's the thing. Why is it trash and a la poubelle? Why isn't it getting big money, besides being kitschy? Well, here's the thing. He's basically kind of a guy doing, like, you know, I use the word sort of an impressionist. He's kind of painting in the impressionist style. Right? So here's the problem. The only impressionist paintings that have any value are those that were painted during the, you know, when it was the new thing, when it was original, when impressionism was original, which is like, you know, I don't know, let's just say 1870s to 1890, roughly speaking. It's probably a little bit of a tighter period, but, you know, we're talking about the original school. We're talking about Monet, Renoir, you know, all those dudes, right? You had a couple of other guys on the periphery who were, you know, also very interesting. But then you also have artists that are doing the same style of painting, you know, instead of doing it in 1880, they're doing it in, you know, 1920, so 50 years later. Now, those 1920 paintings could sell for, if it's a really good artist, like, was it Malfra? Whatever, different D'Espagnat, which is 30s, I believe, 30s to 50s. But, you know, those could sell for, you know, 30 grand, 50 grand if it's really good, 30 to 50 grand. Whereas if it's a Monet, same, you know, again, same subject, same style, basically, it would be, you know, 20 million plus, 20 million with an M, right? So why is one painting worth it could be like literally 1,000 times more, because the original thing, it's originality. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? You understand it, or you need to Google it? You understand, or do you need to Google? So the thing is, you want to get the original thing. So the 3940 was an original, totally original, iconic design. Same thing with Patek Philippe Ellipse, right? You could also say Rolex Day Date. The problem is they made a lot of these, but again, this is just a little weekend vibes, beach watch type of thing. You know, you don't want to bang something against the wall here. I mean, I don't want to be wearing an Ellipse right now. It's just not the right, you know, it's a dress watch. It's an elegant watch. And also, by the way, the other thing I told the Prince of Porn Valley is, you know, for Patek Philippe, what you need is it's got to meet two characteristics. It's got to be elegant, and it's got to have complications. Okay, so your watch has complications, but it's not elegant. It's too big, okay? And again, it's got the syringe hands. The case is all like, you know, I don't know, monster sized, and it's got the second hand, which you should not have on a perpetual calendar. You really shouldn't. I mean, JLC doesn't, you know, just does a lot of stuff. They like to pack in a lot of stuff, but you really shouldn't have it. It's a second hand doesn't really belong on a perpetual calendar. So the dial's already busy enough, so you don't need more stuff, right? So that's it. Okay, so what about the Patek Philippe Ellipse? Again, that, my friends, is an iconic classical design. Why? Because it's an original design. Nobody else did anything prior to that. Now, you could say, and this is true, this came to my attention, that actually the golden ellipse was it was stolen from a Danish designer. There's a guy, I don't know, whatever, some Danish guy who did this design called the golden ellipse, which was a difference between, like, you know, the ellipse and a rectangle, and it was a big thing in the 60s. He was an avant-garde type of guy. avant-garde type of guy. I'm trying to think. You know, the Danish actually were very big in design in the 60s. They had some really good designers. They had that guy who made that like artichoke lamp, Kjærholm or something. I don't know. Maybe that's a different guy. But they had a bunch of guys. You know the Danish. You know, they know how to make pastries. They were very good. They're actually very good with design. It's something that is it's what they do. You know. So. Hang on a second, let me do here. Okay, so bottom line is the ellipse is an original design. Now, what about let's use an example. How about the Calatrava? The Calatrava actually was an original design, right? The problem with the Calatrava, and again, I love some of the vintage 60s and 50s and 60s Calatravas, you know, with the funky cases. Some of them have. The problem is it's just, you know, it's a beautiful, well-made watch, but it's just not a iconic design. It's just a round watch. It's nothing. It's nothing different than anybody else was doing. Okay, like AP was doing stuff like that. You know, everybody had something different, right? Whereas the ellipse really is that iconic design. And also, let me give you another example. Cartier-shaped cases. So the Crash, I know people are hyping it up. They're hyping it up. Oh my God! Oh my, this, that. Listen, the Cartier Crash is like, it's a gimmicky design, right? Okay, whatever. You might, it's a complete gimmick. It's not to be taken seriously. Again, with Cartier, they're basically a jewelry brand. I know we talk about the watches, but it's a jewelry brand generally, right? So it's, you know, right now what we're seeing is an outlier type of thing. They did beautiful watches in the Art Deco era. Clocks, I'm talking about clocks. Beautiful clocks in the Art Deco era. But when it comes to watches, it's a little bit gimmicky, right? You know, and especially the other shaped cases, the bamboo case or whatever it is. Those are not really original. They're just, you have a bamboo case. It's not really anything. It's not a real breakthrough. It's just incremental. It's an incremental change. It's not a big change. The ellipse was revolutionary. The ellipse is like an avant-garde design, right? As you could say is the 3940. You could say the same thing with the 3940. It is kind of, it looks conservative today, but it was at its time very, I don't want to say avant-garde, but it was, you know. But let's use an example of, for example, the Patek Calatrava. They do one which has like this, I don't know. They do a really nice one which has the hobnail right now, but they also do one which has like this funky carbon fiber thing on the dial. It's got this carbon fiber looking thing. It's got these rubber straps, or I don't know. They got some colorful thing, but it's a Calatrava. So that watch is a hot mess, and you got to stay away from that because it's a money loser. Okay, now I'm going to give you something else which is interesting. Patek Nautilus. Patek Nautilus is a watch that is, I believe, if you're getting a new one right now, it might have issues. I mean, it's. We talked about it in a previous video. I'll get into it another time, but I think the Nautilus design is going to have some challenges maintaining a relevancy in the next couple of years. I have that feeling. You could say Royal Oak, but I think Royal Oak is a little bit more classic design, so you have a little bit of protection. But anyway, look, bottom line is this. The watch has to be an original design. If it's not an original design, then it's not worth anything. It's not worth anything, okay? It is basically just a copy, cheap copies. It's like a Thomas Kincaid painting. It's like the Thomas Kincaid print that your grandma has hanging in her kitchen or something, you know? It's basically not worth anything. So there's a very, very big difference between original avant-garde design and imitation, okay? So same thing again applies with watches. Okay, leave your nasty and vicious comments below. Again, this is the only channel when it comes to making money. Make sure you join the channel if you want to have access to secrets of the universe revealed. You want to become an aristocrat. You want to become a member of the Illuminati. All secrets will be revealed to you when you join. And what else do you get? What else do you get? You get to be an aristocrat. I mean, what more do you want?